You look at Marcus coming out, and he is, you wouldn't want to be up against him. If you're a fullback and he's running at you, all the best.
Rashford! Oh, Marcus Rashford! Again! He's 11th of this season!
But especially Rashford is, yes, one of the most dangerous players now in Europe, yeah.
No one beats him on work rate, no one beats him on attitude, and at the moment he's very confident in front of goal.
I mean, when did it all fall apart?
And the way he's played this season, I mean, the reaction has been really a furious reaction from the supporters that he's not focusing on his jobs.
Rashford is useless.
No player's bigger than the club.
350 grand a week? I'd break your legs out there.
And this is big breaking news because Manchester United have confirmed the appointment of head coach Ruben Amorim.
Ruben Amorim.
Ruben Amorim.
Ruben Amorim.
Do you agree with how Ruben Amorim has handled the Marcus Rashford saga?
Ruben Amorim has been speaking for the first time since Marcus Rashford confirmed he's ready for a new challenge.
Our team should be so much better with Rashford, but this Rashford, he has to change.
I think Marcus has let a lot of people down, really, with his attitude, and I think that's what the manager's trying to say.
It doesn't look good for Marcus Rashford.
I will put Vital before I put a player that don't give the maximum every day. So
Marcus Rashford linked to Barcelona, willing to take a pay cut, blah, 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 blah. If I'm any club, why would I have any interest in Rashford when he can't even be bothered to train properly for the club that he's with at the moment?
Today, we're diving deep into a really dramatic and very public feud that unfolded at Manchester United. And this isn't just about a disagreement, it's about the explosive clash between the club's new head coach, Ruben Amorim, and their very own homegrown superstar, Marcus Rashford. Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's start by setting the stage back in 2023. Manchester United had actually entered the 2023-24 season with a sort of cautious optimism under Erik ten Hag. He had managed a decent second season, secured a top 4 finish, won the Carabao Cup. And there was this fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, the club was finally on an upward trajectory. Because as the autumn months turned to winter, that fragile hope just shattered. Team performances dipped drastically. The squad, which had shown some signs of cohesion, quickly became, disjointed. They found themselves sitting outside the top 6 in the Premier League, and it became excruciatingly clear that something fundamental was broken at the club's very core. And at the very heart of that dysfunction was Marcus Rashford. And this wasn't just any player struggling, was it? This was the club's homegrown talent, a beacon of hope, who had previously been the team's most prolific goal scorer, especially the season before. Yet, his form, and crucially his focus, had deteriorated significantly. Think about this. He scored only 4 goals in his first 23 appearances in the 2023-24 season, raising significant questions about his commitment. And adding fuel to that fire, adding to that intense scrutiny and pressure, was a significant financial detail that cast a long shadow over his performance. Just months earlier, July 2023, Rashford had signed a brand new contract, reportedly worth a staggering £325,000 a week, a monumental investment by the club, signaling their belief in him as a long-term cornerstone. Yet almost immediately after penning that lucrative deal, whispers and then outright questions about his attitude and commitment began to emerge. The output on the pitch, quite simply, wasn't matching the colossal investment, and that disparity became a real talking point. The first major public incident that really brought these mounting concerns to a very uncomfortable head happened on January 25, 2024. Rashford, Manchester United player, was photographed leaving a Belfast nightclub late into the night. And here's the kicker, just 36 hours before a scheduled training session back in Manchester. Imagine the optics. So the very next day, predictably perhaps, Rashford called in ill and, as a result, missed that critical training session. The club, facing an immediate media firestorm, had to release an official statement via ITV News trying to contain the damage. They stated, and I quote, "Marcus has taken responsibility for his actions. This has been dealt with as an internal disciplinary matter, which is now closed. Full damage control." His manager at the time, Erik ten Hag, also publicly commented, trying his best to put a lid on it, saying, "In football, you need discipline, on the pitch, but also off the pitch. He's taken responsibility, case closed." But despite these official lines, Reddit forums and UK media speculated heavily on Rashford's true commitment. This wasn't just a player missing training. It felt like a very public symptom of a club culture, where accountability maybe felt a bit optional, setting the stage for the dramatic confrontation to come. That decline was not just alarming, it was glaringly obvious to anyone watching. And this turbulent period under Erik ten Hag sort of culminated in a particularly significant low point for Manchester United. Erik ten Hag was finally, and perhaps inevitably, sacked on October 29, 2024. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who by then was firmly in control of football operations at United through his Ineos group, was determined to make a truly transformative hire. He was looking for a long-term visionary, someone who could fundamentally reshape the club's culture from the ground up. And their priority target, Ruben Amorim. Amorim had meticulously built this impressive reputation as one of Europe's brightest young coaches, celebrated not just for his tactical clarity, but crucially, for his unwavering dressing room discipline. His reputation certainly preceded him. His track record at Sporting was stellar. Amorim had already won multiple domestic trophies with Sporting, transforming them into a formidable force in Portugal. So United, desperate for exactly that kind of cultural reset, wasted absolutely no time. They paid his hefty $10 million release clause. Quite a statement of intent. A testament to how highly they valued his potential. Even his representative, speaking via Record Portugal during those intense negotiations, said, "It's a negotiation between two clubs. After the game tomorrow, we will have a decision." And Amorim officially joined the club on November 1st, 2024. Amorim arrived just days after leading Sporting to an impressive 4-1 win over Manchester City in the Champions League, showcasing his pedigree right away. And the immediate impact at Carrington, United's training ground, was, well, nothing short of palpable. The dressing room actually, perhaps surprisingly to some, welcomed what was broadly described as a cultural reset. Amorim set the tone early and unequivocally in his introductory press conference on November 2, 2024, declaring, "I won't compromise on standards, never have, never will." It was a promise, and you could argue a warning. A clear statement that distractions and casual attitudes would no longer be tolerated. It was about creating an environment of singular, undivided focus on football. So how did Marcus Rashford, the club's prodigious son, respond to this new, intense regime initially? On November 24, 2024, in Amorim's debut match against Ipswich, Rashford scored within 90 seconds, a flash of his old brilliance. Amorim even praised him after the match, telling reporters, "He's got everything. If he keeps working like this, there's no limit." On December 1st, Rashford seemed to continue his positive start under Amorim. He scored twice in a resounding 4-0 victory over Everton. A brace, a clear win, looked like a really good sign on the surface. However, behind the scenes, whispers and then concrete rumors began to swirl. Rashford had, yet again, been seen out late prior to the match. This was, as you can imagine, a monumental red flag for the new manager. So Amorim, hearing these rumors, reportedly confronted Rashford directly. This led to what was described by club insiders as a heated conversation in the manager's office. Rashford, according to a source who spoke to The Sun, was defiant, aggressively denying everything. He apparently asked the manager to show him the proof he'd been out, and said something along the lines of, "Are you calling me a liar?" That confrontation, that direct challenge to authority, effectively poisoned the well. It made any future trust nearly impossible. Days later, Amorim made a very cryptic, yet undeniably pointed, public comment in a press conference. He stated, "Only players who give the maximum every day in training and in life will play." With that, the public standoff truly began, escalating into a full-blown war of words and clear, unmistakable warnings. On December 15, 2024, for the highly anticipated Manchester derby against rivals Manchester City, Rashford was not just benched, he was left out of the squad entirely. This wasn't tactical, this was an outright exclusion, a major public statement about his status within the team. Amorim, in his public justification to the media, was careful, measured, but firm. He stated, "There are no disciplinary issues. I just pick players who meet our intensity." He elaborated. Performance in training, the performance in the games, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you engage with your teammates, the way you push your teammates. Everything is important in the context of beginning something, when we want to change a lot of things. This was the blueprint for his cultural reset, and Rashford was clearly not fitting into it. Then came Rashford's bombshell, the direct response from the player himself. Just 2 days later, December 17, 2024, he gave that shocking, unfiltered interview to Henry Winter. He publicly declared his desire to leave Manchester United, stated it quite plainly, "I think I'm ready for a new challenge," and the next steps. He attempted to soften the blow a bit for the loyal United fans, adding, "When I leave, it's going to be no hard feelings. I will always be a Red." And according to our sources, Rashford reportedly felt he was being eased out. He even believed he was being picked on by Amorim. He further rationalized this, apparently believing it was on orders from owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who wants his staggering £325,000 a week wages off the books. The financial aspect here, as we alluded to earlier, is absolutely crucial, isn't it? Manchester United, like many top clubs, operates under strict financial regulations, profit and sustainability rules, PSR, which essentially limit how much a club can spend relative to its revenue. This means they are often forced to offload high earners, especially those not performing, just to balance the books and avoid severe penalties. So getting Rashford's enormous salary off the wage bill would have been a significant financial relief for the club, regardless of the personal dynamic. Rashford was also reportedly quite shocked that no big team had pulled out all the stops to get him. He quickly realized that his exorbitant wages were a significant stumbling block for potential suitors. Even clubs like Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, Barcelona, they showed interest. But sources say they were balking at the price tag and the wages. His high salary, once a mark of his immense value, was now proving to be a bit of an anchor. Amorim's response the very next day, December 18, 2024, was, well, quite calculated and masterful, you could say. In his press conference, he acknowledged Rashford's talent, stating, "We are better with Rashford. This club needs big talents, and he is a big talent." But he quickly added the crucial qualifier. But I cannot say more from that interview. He pointedly dodged questions about reintegration, steadfastly refusing to be drawn into a public debate or to give any false hope, as Rashford continued to be left out of subsequent matchday squads. League Cup quarter-final against Spurs, United clearly wanted to win that trophy. And again, no Rashford, United lose 4-3, they're out. Then, December 22nd, Bournemouth at home, still no Rashford. Then Boxing Day, fourth match in a row, he's out. United lose 2-0 to Wolves, attack looks toothless. And the ultimate public ultimatum, the final, undeniable nail in the coffin perhaps, came in January 2025. With the team precariously slipping towards mid-table, the pressure mounting intensely, Amorim publicly challenged Rashford to conform, to change his ways. He stated with stark clarity, "I wouldn't pick anyone who doesn't give the maximum. If Rashford will change, we are happy to have him." It was an open invitation, but with a very, very clear condition attached. But then he went even further. He delivered what was undoubtedly the most striking, the most cutting, and truly unmistakable snub of the entire saga. You can see it today on the bench. We needed a little bit of pace to change the game, to lose some pieces, but I prefer it like that. I will put Vital on before I put a player that doesn't give the maximum. I will not change in that department. Jorge Vital is his 63-year-old goalkeeper coach. Imagine hearing your manager, your coach, say that about you, publicly, to the entire world. It was a humiliation of the highest order. A deliberate, calculated move. So with the situation utterly untenable, a temporary escape route, a much-needed lifeline maybe, finally materialized for Marcus Rashford. On February 2, 2025, a loan deal to Aston Villa was officially confirmed. The terms were quite specific and telling. A season-long deal, with Villa covering a significant portion of his substantial wages, reportedly somewhere between 75% and 90%. And crucially, an option for them to purchase him permanently for £40 million the following summer. This deal was a critical step, a necessary compromise perhaps for both parties involved. For Manchester United, it offered significant alleviation of a substantial financial burden, getting those wages off the books, and perhaps more importantly, the removal of a highly disruptive presence from the dressing room, allowing Amorim to further solidify his new culture without that constant background noise. And for Rashford, it offered a much-needed fresh start, a chance to rebuild his confidence and form away from the intense, suffocating scrutiny of Old Trafford. Upon his arrival at Villa Park, Rashford himself expressed a palpable sense of relief and optimism. He stated, quite candidly, "Aston Villa was an easy decision. I admire the manager's ambitions. I just want to play football." The appeal of playing under Unai Emery, known for his meticulous tactical prowess and his ability to revitalize players' careers, was clear. Plus, there was the added personal convenience of not needing to move house, allowing him to focus solely on his football. Amorim, for his part, publicly tried to downplay the significance of the loan, stating, with a kind of calculated neutrality, "Humiliating? No, it's not embarrassing. You expect him to play and improve." What's truly fascinating here, and where the story takes another turn, is the immediate and stark contrast in fortunes between Marcus Rashford and Manchester United in the subsequent months, from February to May 2025. Rashford, out of the glare of Old Trafford and under a different manager, experienced a genuine resurgence at Aston Villa. He made an immediate impact, debuting as a substitute against Tottenham on February 9. He then found his scoring touch, netting his first 2 goals for the club in the FA Cup against Preston on March 30, getting back on the score sheet, and then, just 3 days later, scoring his first Premier League goal against Brighton. Overall, in his relatively short stint at Villa, he made 17 appearances across all competitions, impressively contributing 4 goals and providing 6 assists. Decent numbers. He genuinely re-established himself as an elite transition threat, his pace and directness proving devastating for Unai Emery's counter-attacking system. He looked hungry again, revitalized, effective. And this rapid return to form didn't go unnoticed. Sky Sports' Lewis Jones even described his performance in the Champions League quarterfinal against PSG as the best we've seen from Rashford for 2 years. Meanwhile, in stark contrast to Rashford's quiet revival at Villa, United's domestic performance under Amorim was, well, quite frankly, a disaster. They finished in a dismal 15th place in the Premier League, an absolutely shocking outcome, and their worst ever finish in the club's storied history. Unbelievable. While they did manage a promising run in the Europa League, reaching the final, they ultimately lost 1-0 to Tottenham, just adding to the sense of crushing disappointment. The season was widely and accurately considered one of the worst in the club's modern history, leading to widespread desperate calls for a major rebuild that would require unprecedented changes in the squad over the summer. Pundits weighed in on Amorim's situation. Rio Ferdinand noted on TalkSport in May 2025, "Amorim now better understands the squad, discarding underperforming stars. He needs time." Gary Neville on Sky Sports on May 5, 2025 observed, "The football's clear, the leadership's there, but we need results now." The irony of Rashford's immediate success contrasted with United's continued struggles was not lost on anyone. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to what ultimately became the inevitable farewell for Marcus Rashford in the summer of 2025. Upon his return to Manchester United for preseason training in July 2025, the atmosphere was starkly different from the hopeful environment he had left behind just months earlier. Instead of being reintegrated into the first-team squad, Amorim swiftly made it clear that Rashford was not part of his immediate plans. He was, in essence, banished. Rashford found himself part of a controversial bomb squad, a group of high-profile, high-earning, but distinctly out-of-favor players, training away from the main squad. This infamous group reportedly included other notable names, like Jadon Sancho, Anthony, and Tyrell Malacia. This bomb squad strategy was a decisive, and you could say quite ruthless, move by Amorim. He was willing to isolate and move on from any player, regardless of their status, their cost, or their public profile, if they did not wholeheartedly align with his absolute commitment to his new, unwavering standards. Amorim's stance throughout this period remained utterly unwavering. He repeatedly stressed with unshakable conviction, only players who meet the daily standard are included. When asked by the press if the door was closed for these banished players, he was firm, leaving no room for misinterpretation. No door is closed, but standards are non-negotiable. Even Luke Shaw, a senior and highly respected player within the squad, publicly defended Amorim around this time, stating clearly, "He's fair, not personal. If you train right, you play. If not, you don't." Amorim himself reflected on his turbulent, challenging first season, perhaps acknowledging the difficulty but certainly not expressing regret. And, crucially, sources indicated that the dressing room was reportedly fully behind the manager's no-nonsense approach. So on July 23, 2025, the inevitable finally happened. The transfer was officially announced. Marcus Rashford, the local boy, the academy product, the former talisman, was moving to FC Barcelona on a season-long loan initially for the 2025-26 campaign. The key terms included an option for the Spanish club to make the move permanent for a reported fee of around $30 million, which is about $26 million the following summer. Yeah, it does seem low. And crucially, a significant relief for United's strained finances. Barcelona would cover Rashford's substantial wages in full. This marked Marcus Rashford's second consecutive loan. A truly sobering detail that starkly highlighted how far his stock had fallen at his boyhood club. From generational talent to being loaned out twice in successive seasons, it was a dramatic downturn. At his Camp Nou unveiling, a new chapter beginning in Barcelona, Rashford's farewell to Manchester United was, well, diplomatic. Carefully worded, yet tellingly clear in its subtle acknowledgments. He stated, "I don't have anything bad to say about Manchester United. It's been an important part of not only my career, but my life." However, he also offered a subtle, almost veiled acknowledgement of deeper institutional issues, adding that the club is going through a period of change, and they have been for a while. It was his way of hinting at the instability and the shifting demands that ultimately led to his departure, perhaps, without directly blaming any single individual. His hope, as he put it, was for a fresh start at a club where dreams come true, a poignant wish from a player who had perhaps lost his own dream at the club he had always called home. So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's abundantly clear, isn't it? The saga of Marcus Rashford and Ruben Amorim was far, far more than just a clash of two strong personalities. It was a fundamental and very public clash between a player and his manager, ultimately symbolizing a seismic generational shift in culture and expectation at Manchester United. This entire saga, marked by missed trainings, dramatic press conferences, public ultimatums, and this deep, almost ingrained cultural defiance. It will undoubtedly long be remembered as a defining watershed moment in Manchester United's ongoing, often turbulent era of transformation.